Hello and welcome to Back at Camp, Mojave County's only outdoor television show. I'm your host, Don Martin, and on today's show, we're going to talk to a couple of young guns from Kingman who have been out there chasing javelina and deer with their bows and arrows. Going to be a great show, so don't go away. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Back at Camp. I'm your host, Don Martin. On today's show, I got two very special guests, a couple of young guys here from Kingman that have been doing really well out in the field in 2016, chasing deer and javelina. I got with me today Justin Sturgill Jr., Justin, and Tanner Ragan. Guys, now you guys have been hunting for a long time. You're young guys, but you've been hunting for a long time. Justin, how long have you been actually hunting?
Well, I've been hunting with my dad practically since I was born.
What's your dad's name?
Justin Sturgill too.
Okay.
And I've been going out with him every chance I get. Just I've been with him. I think when I was like really little on an antelope hunt, I went with him on a bull hunt. We weren't successful, but it was just a really great experience for me.
Sure.
We were able to kind of sneak up on this herd of elk, but one of them they kind of left. And then I started actually hunting big game when I was 10.
Did you take hunter ed?
Yeah, of course.
Good.
And so started hunting when I was 10. I killed my first pig, was with a rifle when I was 10, and then I killed a deer, I think a week after that. So first time hunting big game, came out successful, so it just started my great hunting career.
And when did you start hunting with a bow?
My dad wanted me to get some animals under my belt, then
Sure.
start shooting with a bow. So after I killed the pig and the deer with a rifle, he got me a bow and I started shooting. So pretty much after my first
How long have you been
animals.
shooting a bow?
I'd say probably 10, 11,
Okay. So you've been, and how old are you now?
16.
Okay, so you've been hunting with a bow basically about 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Tanner, you've been hunting for a long time. How long have you been hunting?
Well, my grandpa first taken me out about
Your grandpa
is Rod Ward.
Rod Ward, okay.
He brought me into the hunting life. I started off, he took me out when I was 4, and he said he'd take me out as soon as I can wipe my own self. And since then, he's taken me out, and he's taught me quite a bit.
Yeah, he's introduced you to the sport, and he's kind of got you in and gave you the tricks of the trade so you know what you're doing.
Yes.
How long you been hunting with a bow?
My first bow, I was about 7, and it was one of them little red fiberglass bows.
Sure.
And got my first compound when I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
And when I turned 10 after taking the hunter safety course, my folks and him pitched in and bought me my first real compound bow.
Real compound bow. Now, you've been hunting now for a long time.
Yes, sir.
And what have you taken in the past?
I've taken 4 pigs with my bow. My first one when I was 10. Shot one this year, reluctantly. Shot a black bear with my bow when I was 13 in Alaska.
Wow.
And this year, or last year I should say now, I killed a 5x5 with my bow with my grandpa. And this year I took my first archery mule deer.
Wow. Justin, what have you taken in the past?
I've taken probably about 4 or 5 pigs, and then 1 deer with a bow, and then about 6 deer altogether. Because after my first rifle deer, my dad's been putting me in for muzzleloader, and every year I've been successful.
Okay. Folks, these guys are 16 years old, and they're talking about having taken 5 or 6 deer already. I know guys that are 50 years old that haven't taken 5 or 6 deer in their lifetime. So these guys have been out there, they're doing it right, and they're getting it done. So let that be a lesson to everybody. It's not too early to start. And these guys are going to tell us about some hunts that they just went on and how they were able to get pigs and get deer. So pay attention to what these guys are saying, because obviously they're doing it right. Justin, in 2015, last year, what did you get?
I got my first mule deer with a bow.
Okay.
I was really happy. I mean, it was just like, I actually got the deer first before the pig last year.
Right.
And then, like, me and my mom, it was just me and my mom too.
And what's her name?
Shelly Sturgill.
Okay.
And then, so we're like going to check this tank, because it's on a ranch of ours. So we're going to check this tank, and up on the hill, about 100 yards, there's a little 2-point with a doe. So we stop, I get out, and about an hour of just stalking, and it was when the snow kind of melted on those south-facing slopes, so the ground was kind of muddy, and I was wearing my muck boots, you know, so my feet don't get cold.
Sure.
So just every step was just taking my time, being patient, just making sure I don't make the wrong move, scared off. Every time he looked up, not even to look at me, just lifted his head, I'd stop. And I was in the wide open too. It was just a really, I played it off perfectly. I could have shot it at 40, but I wasn't really confident. So I was like, all right, I'll see if I can get like 30. So finally, like I picked a pinpoint, said I'm gonna go to that tree. Should be in range. So I get to that tree finally, and he starts to come down through the trees, and I draw back, and I kind of like go, meh, to get it to stop, just put the hammer on him.
30 yards.
30 yards.
What? And it was a forky.
It was like a little 2-point, yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of went out by his ears. He was a pretty decent 2-point.
Sure. Well, listen, anybody that takes anything with a bow and arrow has my admiration and respect, because if you've never done this before, if you've never tried to sneak up on a mule deer or any big game animal with bow and arrow, it is extremely tough. And I think most people will agree that taking a mule deer with a bow is quite an accomplishment. And you know, size doesn't matter. I mean, we're out there, we're enjoying the sport, we're spending time in the field, we're with friends and family, and that's what it's all about. Just taking a deer is just the icing on the cake. So last year, you sneak up and you put the smack down on this buck, 30 yards.
And I didn't think I hit it too. I was like, I missed it, because when it ran, I didn't see an arrow. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll watch him, see if I can get another shot. Well, he runs down, and he comes across like by the drinker, and I was like, all right, if he hops that fence, I definitely missed. Hops it, I was like, all right, goes over, and there's a road that kind of goes up through the tank and up back, and he beds down. And I'm like,
why did you do that?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, sweet. And then, the doe that was with him didn't even didn't know what was going on. So I sat there for a minute, like kind of processing everything. I'm like, this is awesome. It's a great feeling. So I go back down to my mom, and she's like, you hit it. I seen the arrow. I was like, yeah, it's really awesome. And then, so we waited until about an hour 30, because like we can kind of see where he was. So if he started moving, we knew to wait a little bit longer. Then finally, we just drove up next to him, got it out, tagged him, threw him back.
He was dead.
He was dead.
Just thumped him. Now, what did you use? What kind of bow you shoot?
The bow I was shooting when I shot the deer was a diamond razor edge.
Okay.
And I've had that bow since I was 10. So it was a great accomplishment to shoot a bunch of pigs with that bow, and then finally a deer. And then my dad finally decided to get me a new bow after that.
Sure.
Deserved it. And
yeah,
then,
you kind of earned it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after we gutted it out, tagged it, when we got back to camp, my dad and my brother were somewhere else. When they finally got back to camp, we skinned it, and then I went and got it mounted too.
Oh, you got it mounted. Well, that's great. See, folks, here's the deal. You say, well, wait a minute. He said he shot a 2-point. Big deal. That is a great buck. First time, why not? I can tell you I've got a buck that's a little forky, and I had a skull mount, and I got him with a handgun. And to me, that was a great trophy to take a buck with a handgun. So it's not the size. It's the accomplishment, and you know, him getting that buck mounted. That's a great thing. So 2015. So you got this mule deer. Now, did you get a pig?
Yeah. 2 weeks later, I kind of had stuff to do, so I had to take a week off. But 2 weeks after I got my deer, went out, got a pig too.
Were you in the same unit?
Yeah, same unit.
Same unit. So you were able to find some pigs. How many pigs did you find?
I think there was about maybe 10 in that herd that
Okay.
I killed it in.
And then so you snuck up. Now you'd taken pigs before.
Yeah.
Okay. So how close did you get to them?
I think this one I got, say 30 yards too.
Okay.
Same distance.
Okay. Now, what kind of arrows do you use do you use the same ones for pigs and deer?
Yes, and then but what my dad does is the roughed up broadheads we use on pigs to
Okay.
save the good ones for the deer.
Right.
So I was using some roughed up ones for the
Okay.
pig.
But still super sharp and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole
Nothing
thing
goes
about
in.
archery equipment is archery equipment takes animals by loss of blood, whereas like when the bullet hits them, it creates shock, disrupts veins and arteries, and that'll kill them. But on a bow, it's a cutting instrument, so you got to have sharp equipment, sharp broadheads, and the animal will expire usually from the loss of blood because there's not a shock factor involved. So last year you get a pig and a deer with your bow. Of course, this is you've taken pigs before.
Yeah.
Did you get anything else last year? Did you draw any tags?
Yeah, I drawed an elk tag, a cow elk tag in Unit 10.
Right.
And I came out successful with that. She was a big girl too.
Is there? Did you use your bow or did you use a rifle?
I wanted to use my bow, but my dad had a little surprise for me. Like my new bow is a Christmas present, so
Right.
he didn't let me use my bow. So I ended up using a rifle. But we glassed her up and got within 100 yards. And there was like a hole this big, and she was like bedded down facing toward me. I wasn't really sure to punch a hole through it, so I just kind of waited. Maybe she'll stand up, go somewhere where I can actually have an open shot.
Sure.
And she sure enough did. She got up, got in the shot. I put a smack down on her, and she went over and died.
Well, out there in Unit 10, there's a lot of open country where those elk run, and trying to get close with a bow, if they're not in a rut, is a tough thing to do. Tanner, this in 2015, last year, what did you do?
Me and my grandpa, first morning we couldn't hunt, just snow everywhere. So we took the day off.
Now this is archery, pig and deer.
Second day we went, hunted the wall pies. Saw mostly deer, nothing we really wanted to take. So the next morning we went to 18A. Well, as soon as we drove in there, here's 5 pigs right outside the road.
Oh, man.
So that was pretty nice, and it was about 6 inches of snow. So I got out of the truck, started making a stalk on one. Well, about that time, here's a diesel truck coming up the road.
Oh, no.
So now all the pigs were watching him. Well, that distracted them, so I came in.
Just moved in.
Made a 40-yard shot.
And you got him.
Got him. So we're taking our pictures, cleaning them. Well, I went back to the truck to get my grandpa's phone. Well, there was a couple other pigs. While I shot mine, he missed. Well, about that time, here comes.
No, Rod didn't miss.
No.
Rod never misses. You tell me he never misses.
Never. These pigs come back. Well, 20 yards from my pig, he shoots one.
Gets one.
Gets one right there and then. So we doubled out that year.
That was cool. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to listen to these guys talk some more about their archery deer and their archery javelina hunts. So don't go away. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
My left to my left, and here's a 3-point. Has me pinned. 30 minutes goes by, and I hear a woof to my right.
Welcome back to Back at Camp. I'm your host, Don Martin. We're talking today with Justin Sturgill Jr. and Tanner Ragan. We've been talking about their hunts that they had last year. Now, Ragan, when we left, you'd taken a pig, but you got lucky last year and you drew an archery elk tag.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what'd you do there?
Well, it was my second tag back to back.
Jeez.
Third tag since I was 10.
Okay.
So me and my grandpa, he wasn't, the year before, was not successful. Had some young bulls, but it was just a horrible year. Rut kicked in late. The year before that, I was with my grandpa. He killed a 10x7.
Yeah, big bull. Yeah.
And he was lucky enough to take the shot. I was right there, but he had the right angle. But 2015, got my tag. Was in the hospital the 5 days before. Had broke down with allergic reaction from strep throat. Was not feeling good. Didn't have much strength. But open morning, me and my grandpa worked our way into where he killed his bull 3 years ago. Had some spikes and stuff running around. They're actually talking this year. Well, we got up onto this one high ridge, had a 6-point come in. And he was pushing 2 cows and got within 40 yards, but had one tree right in the way.
Kill zone, yep.
Well, the cows busted my grandpa. So evening hunt, turned up a couple cows, that's about it. So second morning, we figured we'd go hunt that 6-point again. Well, me and him separated about 6:30. I told him if I saw elk, I'd cow call. So I made across a ravine, got up on the mountain. Well, I started working up, and here's a bull coming down. So I started cow calling. Well, he came within 10 yards, then my grandpa started cow calling. Well, my wind wasn't just right, so the bull kind of got jumpy. Well, he ran up the hill. So I hurried up, pulled back, ranged him, shot for 40, and he ran about 10 yards and dropped.
Jeez. And how big a bull was that?
He was a 5x5.
Okay.
So
Nice bull.
yeah, very respectable.
So you got a javelina and an elk in 2015.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's jump forward to 2016. Opening day, 2016. Where are you at?
I'm up in 15A. My buddy Clayton Hallway showed me the spot. A couple weeks before in December, we went in there. I missed a nice 3-point, sadly. I mean, it's called.
Hey, it's called hunting.
That's why it's called hunting,
That's
not
right.
killing.
That's right.
So I knew this 3-point we were in there. I didn't know anything about any pigs or such. So we took my grandpa in there, open morning, we saw tons of deer. Monster deer, bucks, does, whole 9 yards. Well, we hunted till about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Well, we're making a loop down the wash. Well, here's a pig right next to the truck just walking. So I got out, and he busted up into this thick stuff, couldn't make a shot. It wasn't ethical. So me and him started making a loop down the wash, coming up on a high road. Well, we look up on top of a mountain, and here's 3 pigs coming down the hill. So I told him it's about 200 yards, we can walk over and cut them off. Well, we got down there, and here's 3 pigs. And my grandpa and me got in a car accident in Vegas about 2 months ago, and his shoulder ain't feeling good, hasn't shot his bow. So he said, I'll take a 20-yard shot. Well, we get down there, and I have a pig at 53. I told him, let's shoot them because they're getting spooky. Shot mine right there and then, looked across the wash, here's one at 40. Grandpa put the smack on him too.
So opening day on these pigs, you get one at 53. Grandpa Rod shoots one at 40.
Yep.
So you guys, bingo, opening day, you're done.
Yes,
with
sir.
the pigs.
With the pigs.
Okay, now what'd you do with the deer?
Next morning we came back in, started driving down the same wash again, spotted a 3-point, 2-point bunch of does. Well, here comes some other hunters, they spot them. So I told my grandpa we can drive around and get on these deer. Well, we started driving down the wash again, right where we killed our pigs, here's a 2-point. Big old, probably about 24, 25-inch spread 2-point.
Wow.
Well, we get out there, I range him, he's 86 yards.
Too far.
Too far. Well, my grandpa thought he could make the shot and missed him. So I hightailed up after this deer, and he's just feeding. He was all by himself. So he just worked his way up tall mountain. So I worked up on top. He wasn't up there. Okay, so I got up on this clearing. It's like, man, this would be a perfect spot for a deer. About that time, I looked to my left, and here's a 3-point. Has me pinned. So I ranged him 130, 140 yards. Sat there and sat there. About 30 minutes goes by, and he finally starts messing with his does. Well,
Oh, this guy's got does with him.
yes, sir. He has 3 of them. And there's one antlered spike with him, too.
Oh, wow.
So I sat there, 30 minutes goes by, and I hear a woof to my right. It's like, oh, did my grandpa walk up here? And now the deer are looking to my right. Sat there, sat there. About finally, here's 5 pigs just walking right next to me, about 20 yards. They're just taking their time. Well, I thought they busted me and the deer. Nope, they just worked their way up and over the ridge and kept going. Well, finally, we're looking at these deer, and I see my grandpa come around the mountain. He's driving below me, about 500 yards. Well, I look next to his truck, and here's a 4-point, right next to his truck. So, buck crosses the road, and my grandpa gets a little bit buck fever. Missed again.
Oh, Ron, how many times you gonna miss?
Well, the 4-point worked his way up the ridge, so I'm ranging in, ready for the deer to top the little ridge below me. Never did. So I went back to looking at the 3-point, and the 3-point's watching my grandpa down below me. So I got about 10 yards closer, and the 3-point ran down about 5 yards. What is he doing? About that time, here's a 4-point, the 3-point fighting now.
So you got bucks all around you.
Everywhere.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm watching, and now the 2-point I chased up's with the unicorn, the little 1-antlered spike.
Yeah.
So they're messing around like young bucks. Well, I did not know there was another buck with him. He was down below him. Well, he chased the 4-point, the 2-point, the 3-point, and spike 20 yards to my right. And they're just running while this other buck, I don't know how big he is, but he sure looks mean. And he came up below me at about 30 yards, and he just stood behind this big bush. I don't know how big he was, but I was pulled back, ready to shoot. Well, I had no shot. He just stood there for probably about a minute. I'm full drawn.
Sure.
Setting my bow down on my knee, I'm getting tired. Well, I think I could stand up and shoot over the bush. I stand up, he spots me. Well, I can see through a clearing in the bush. I can make a shot. Shot for 30 yards, and he started running down, picked up my binos, and here's a hole in him. So
Wow.
he ran all the way down the ridge, starts running towards my grandpa. Well, about that time he expired. Well, I'm waving, yelling. My grandpa does not know where I am. And he finally sees me. Well, my buddy Clayton Holloway and Alec Dunton pull up right on the same road my grandpa is. Well, I'm waving, yelling at them.
There's bucks all around.
There's
and everything
bucks,
else.
and I have a dead deer down here. Well, they helped me, and they helped me recover the buck, and we got some nice photos with them.
So you got so now you got a pig on the first day. Now you've got
My first archery
your
deer.
first archery deer on the second day. What did you do this year?
Opening day, we went out.
You say we? Who were you hunting with?
My mom and my dad.
Okay.
And it's like a tradition to go out the first day, you know,
Sure.
hunting for pigs. And then, so opening day we go out, we get out there around 7 o'clock, right as the sun's coming up. So, and we know, there's a spot that we've been wanting to glass. So we drive up to that spot, we're glassing the hillsides. Well, we spot these pigs on top of this hill just feeding. We're like, all right, well, we know there's a road that got fairly close to it. So we drive up there, get all our stuff ready. And we're gonna, cause like they're walking down to the left, so we're like, all right, we're gonna climb over here. Wind should be good, and we'll cut them off. Well, we get up on top of this mountain, we're looking both sides, you know, seeing if there's deer around, cause we spotted deer on that same hillside before. Well, we're walking, and I look over and I see like bush just moving. I was like, right there. I was like, all right. So I get in position, I'm just waiting for a shot. One pig comes out, 30 yards. I was like, all right. But this time I'm like excited, I'm getting jumpy. I rushed the shot, missed him. So they kind of run, so we start woofing, trying to get them back. Well, my mom and dad kind of go up, and they shoot their pigs.
Both of them get pigs.
Both of them shoot their pigs. So we're like, all right, so we sit
You're
there.
the only one left.
Yes. So we're sitting there like, we start tracking them, seeing if we actually hit them. So we have blood. Well, my dad knew he was just gonna wait. Well, my mom, there was a lot of blood on the ground, so she was gonna see if she could find it, like right over there. Well, she jumps it. So like, all right, she comes back. We're sitting there waiting. These pigs come back up on us. We're like, all right, sweet. So I get in position again, and about 30 yards, let's say, I draw back. The wind blows, and the bow I'm shooting now is pretty light. Kind of moves my bow, but the pig moves with it. And that's right as I'm shooting. And I shoot it right in the back, and it comes up in the chest cavity. Goes 80 yards and dies.
Just thumps over.
Yeah, just thumped him.
So you guys got 3 pigs out of this group?
Yes.
Did you see any deer?
Not that day.
Did you see deer after that?
Yeah, we saw deer the next day.
Did you get one?
No, we kind of stocked up on this one. It was a nice 4x3. We kind of is like bedded down on this ridge, so kind of towards the top. So what me and my dad did is we went back and around to get up on top of them.
Right.
You know, so it'd be like shooting range. Well, when we get up on top, it's a little thicker than we thought. We can't really see him, but we have an idea of where he's at. So we go to take a step just to kind of peek over, and like, I think it was me, because me and my dad kind of fought about who spooked the deer.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody, you did it. No, I didn't. No, you did it.
So anyway, so we trying to slowly just step and not make any noise. He ended up being 45 yards, and stick decided to crawl up on her boot and snap. Scared it off.
Ugh.
But the funny thing is, before that, we were just gonna go like on top of these canyons and glass
Right.
down in them because it was
Right.
like a really windy day. We spooked him as we were going up in that. So he runs over, and we found out it was that same deer.
Wow. So you guys, I mean, you got your first deer, you got a pig, you got a pig, your whole family got a pig.
Yeah.
I mean, so you still got a chance to hunt.
Yeah, I got.
Now
about-
Tanner, he's done.
Yeah,
he done
For a
with
while.
pigs. He's done with a deer. He's out there rabbit hunting now. I mean,
He can just
he's-
relax now.
Yeah. Well, you guys have had a great year. I mean, you had a lot of fun and hunting with friends and family. And that's what it's all about, folks. I mean, we talk about when we hunt, why do we hunt? We hunt for the camaraderie. If we get stuff, that's great. If we don't get stuff, that's great too. He gets to keep hunting. He's done. He's just going to go in just to be glassers. So, but they've had a great time, and I hope you enjoy this, because this is what hunting is all about, and this is what we like. I want to thank Justin, Tanner.
Thank you.
These guys are young guns. These guys are doing it, getting it done. So if you see them out there, they're probably on game. Until next week, this is your host, Don Martin, saying keep your firearms oiled, keep your fishing line fresh. We'll see you next week back at camp.